So I am here with Luis Garcia. Welcome, Luis. I'm excited to have you here. I'm really excited that you are here as one of my very first guests. For those who don't know, I just rebranded my podcast, restarted pretty much. I've been doing podcasts for a while, as you may know. I've been producing podcasts, more than 1,000 podcasts in the last couple of years. I've learned a lot. I've been wanting to restart and rebrand my podcast, but it's been a long time coming for this, and I'm excited to bring it back better than ever with all the things that I've learned. And I'm so excited to have you as my very first guest for this brand new, fresh podcast. And I actually was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, I have everything said. I strategized it, but the name, it was something that I was just not sure about. Y dije, what do I want to talk about? Oh, by the way, you can do English and Spanish in this podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
But what am I going to share is the name. And actually, people are going to be like, wow, because it's English and Spanish. So I came up with the name Hustle Creativo.
Okay.
And I wanted to come up with this name because I want to reach out to a lot of Latinos in Houston, in the world, that have their mindset. They're creatives, they're hustlers. They just want more out of life. And that is the people that I want to reach, because we are those people. I want to bring people like that are hungry, are motivated. Me puse a pensar y dije, a lo mejor hay gente en español que no entiende la palabra hustle. Y luego dije, pues está bien, güey. Yo no quiero esa gente que no sepa, güey, qué es hustle. You know? So, Hustle Creativo, es el nombre. And I'm just so excited to bring it back. But today, we're just going to share a little bit about what is creativity, hustle, mindset, get to know you as a person, and we'll just flow with it, man. So, I guess just to start off, man, I just want to share how I met Luis and how this all came about.
First, I have to say congratulations on rebranding and knowing how and recognizing that this is something that you were missing in your business, and knowing the fact that you want to cater to others just like you do in your personal life and in business, man. I appreciate you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. And one of the things that I like about Luis is, I've always told you this, your recruitment skills. Man,
when you said that story, we were having a business lunch, and man, I was red. I turned purple, all kinds of shades of color that I was so embarrassed about. I didn't even realize that's how you felt. But go ahead, you want to share it?
Well, it's more than a feeling. It's an admiration for the skills that, I think are God-given to you. You work hard to get those skills, but hay gente que simplemente they just have it.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do, in my opinion, with the actual wanting to just recruit people for your own personal benefit. It's more like you care about people and you really want to see them grow. And you know that in your team, they're going to grow, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So basically, long story short, Luis came from a referral. Actually, one of my sisters that working at Lennar. And then you just called me. We had a phone call. You came to the studio that I had, and you wanted to do content. You wanted to start your own podcast. You were just so eager to be able to create content, high quality content, not just any type of content, but you wanted the best. Because when you're working with the best, I mean, you're the best. And so he came in, we started working together. We did some amazing episodes in the beginning. I moved to the new studio. And then to Luis's surprise, during that time, I was finishing up my real estate license, right? Because I just wanted to have it. And I just finished it up, but I was looking for a broker. And then I called Luis just to ask him about some information about how does this all work? Like, how do we even join a broker? What are your recommendations in joining a real estate broker? And then next thing you know, I'm on the phone after like 15 minutes. He's like, hey, just come in. We'll show you around the broker that I'm in. And I like this one because of this, and this, and this. And I've been in other brokers, but I like this one specifically because of all these benefits they have. I came in the following week, I believe, to the Vive office, Vive, and right there on the spot, I joined the brokerage. But what I'm saying here is that I didn't know anything about it, but Luis gave me that confidence of knowledge that he knew what you were talking about, and you were just excited to be able to, have me a part of your team.
Well, let's focus on that a little bit
because
it's deeper than what you were saying. So the phone call went, hey, Luis, I'm looking into different brokerages. I want to know what's Viva's, good for. What are they stronghold? What are they good at, right? Because I've been hearing, A, B, and C. I'm looking into what is Viva known for, right? And I gave you the honest truth about it. I said, look, this is what they're best at. This is what the good platform is. Their support, their location, their office. Everybody is very amicable, friendly, which is you want to build that relationship and be licensed in an environment like that.
Yeah.
And I was never even thinking about you joining the team, right? I just said, hey, you need to meet with the brokers. They're going to be there this day. And I think coincidentally they had something going on the 27th floor.
Yeah.
I was even late. I wasn't even targeting you, to be fair. And I show up, and then you're talking to the broker. And then one thing led to another, man. And you and I end up speaking about, I just know that as a new agent to this industry, where you're at a transactional fee broker, and I'm okay with saying that, there's only so much support that they can do. And the guys will back me up. Jose Rayo and Noe will back me up when I say this. There's only so much support that they can help you with as a baby agent.
Yeah.
That, that's the reason why we have team leads in our office. For the reason of we don't want any new agents to fall through the cracks. We want to make sure that if they're going to be top producers, they want to be paired up with a top producing agent who is a team lead that's going to nurture your growth, right? And I just didn't want to have that happen to you. I didn't want you to join with the promise of, pues aquí está padre, no es nada caro. I'm going to be at a badass broker and that's it. And then what, right? What happens when you have a deal? What happens when you have a contract? What happens when you have a client? I just didn't want you to have the impression of I was given false promises and then now no one's here to help me, right? So I jumped in and I said, hey, look, listen, this is the best route for you to take, right? And you took my advice, man. You didn't even hesitate. You were like, You know what? Okay, cool. I'm done. Like I'll sign up with the brokers. I'll sign up with you. And that was that. And that was very impressive. And I give you a lot of credit for that because you actually did it right. Yeah. You were actually looking into different brokerages where some people just go to one and that's it. But you had a feeling of, okay, well, this one offers this one offers that one offers this. And when you came to Vive, you felt like there was a connection there. I had your back. I have your back still.
That's what
I like 100%,
that, yeah.
Anything that we do in this industry, you have to have that kind of support. You have to resonate with the people that are with you and that are be working on your behalf too. So we clicked, man. Like automatically, you and I clicked on the first visit at your other studio.
Playing golf together.
We play golf together, which is great. And man, you just tienes que asociarte con la gente con la que no nada más es con tu cultura, pero también a la vez con la gente that are going to help you grow. And that speaks volumes.
Yeah. Y también me gusta, I really like Vive a lot because they are... they have a lot of agents and they continue to grow, but still they're not as big as other brokerages. I do like that they're, Latino based, right? Or pura raza. And I like how I feel like the skills and, what I was bringing a lot to the table, to the team and to Vive in general. Like I wanted to be like, in a way, like this underdog, like, I'll come in and I'm providing value, not just only providing value to me, both of like you as a team leader and the brokerage itself, but also me somehow providing value to y'all in what I do. Yeah. Like I want to be able to be like a win-win, and a lot of people, they go somewhere and all they think about is themselves and what am I going to get from all of this? And if you don't give me enough, I'm just going to go somewhere else, and they continue jumping from place to place. And in my mindset, it's like, no, I want to be able to provide. Like for me, I have like the social media, the content side of things, and I wanted to be able to bring that into Vive. And somehow, some way, everything is coming together. And I want our team, I want Vive to like be number one. Because if I'm gonna be in a brokerage, I want to be in the number one. And even though it might be not number one yet, because I'm here and I'm not trying to be like cocky or whatever. I just know what I can bring to the table, and I just know I want to be part of that growth.
Yeah.
That themselves are gonna grow. But if we can all do it together as Latinos, then why not?
I think what you're referring to is you're trying to tap into a potential where I think they don't know that they have yet.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna take them there.
Yes.
You're gonna take them there because even reflecting back to when I first started with Vive, you know, and I'm okay to say this as well because the guys will back me up. They didn't have teams at the office. It was just, you know, them as leaders. They had an office manager at the time, and everybody was kind of like on their own, right? Which their support, right? They have them as to fall back on and ask questions, but when I came in, my mentality was, you know, my growth in this industry was I've been a solo agent for almost 7 years, right? Now I'm going on 9. But at that time, it was almost 7 years on my own as my own individual agent. I had paired up with another, realtor back then to start up a team. We were only a team of 2. And I felt like, you know, if my strategy and my plan to grow to maybe become a team lead or even a broker someday, I have to start managing people. I have to know how to manage agents, right? So that was my mentality when I came to Vive, and I pitched it to him and I said, you know, I think I can provide some support by not being like a revolving door brokerage, right? Porque hay muchos agencias de brokerages donde no tienen mucho soporte sobre los agentes, right? Entra alguien nuevo y a lo mejor están ahí 30, 40, 60 días y luego de repente no ve que hay soporte y se van, güey. O sea, es algo que si no hay ese tipo de engagement with your business, you're going to go find it somewhere else. There's hundreds of brokerages in Houston, right?
So many
people. So by providing the knowledge and support that I bring to the table to the brokerage, that also provided retention to the brokerage, right? So I think back then they were at around 80 agents or so. They had a really good count. And I don't want to credit the growth to me, right? Because obviously the branding, the way the guys promote the business, the way they manage themselves, the way they educate the agents is amazing. But I think by them allowing people like me to create teams in the office, not only provided growth, but also provided retention. And by retention, I mean es que los agentes tenían el soporte que a lo mejor ellos no podían porque ahora tenían 100, 120, 150, ahorita 170 agentes.
Sí, yeah.
Oye, ¿cómo vas a ponerle la atención a todos? No puedes. So, ahorita tenemos maybe over 5 teams in the office. And cada equipo tiene arriba de 3 agentes cada persona, cada agent. So, therefore, that kind of alleviates the time away from the brokers for them to continue growing.
Yeah.
And we're focused into educating those agents, right? Y yo soy una de las pocas personas en el equipo de que yo digo, oye, güey, vas a estar en el equipo, tú ya sabes, no me estás hablando cada 2, 3 días o cada día para preguntas. Ya sabes, you know enough to get in trouble. So, get off the team, be on Vive, and be a producer.
Yeah.
Right? And that's always my intent. I never want somebody to be on the team with me forever. So, and again, that's providing retention to the brokerage.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that is very crucial. Before we get too deep into this information, I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And a little bit of your origin story. So just tell us a little bit about your background, like before you got into real estate. Who was Luis, right? when he was like younger, where were you born? Where were you from? And then we'll kind of dive into into like you getting to the real estate kind of, you know?
Yeah. So first generation American, you know, obviously my parents came over from Mexico. They're from the Nuevo León region. And ironically, we're five, you know, somos tres hombres y dos mujeres en la familia. Y todos fueron nacidos en México, güey. No, nada más yo nací aquí.
El gringo.
El gringo, right? The spoiled kid. So, I don't remember really the whole trajectory of where everybody was. Pero se me hace que primeramente los papás de mi papá estaban en Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Estaban allá un tiempo y luego de ahí se fueron para San Antonio. And by then, los tres mayores ya habían nacido. Entonces, pues, ya llegan a San Antonio. Entonces, nazco yo en el 82.
Okay.
Y me acuerdo vivir ahí all the way up to maybe first grade en la escuela. Y luego, después de ahí, se me hace que ya para entonces mi hermana mayor se está graduando de la high school. And every summer, man, like, I don't know if you experienced this or not by living here, pero la tradición back then was that cada verano de la escuela nos íbamos para México.
Oh,
like, we would be over there 2-3 months because we're out of school.
Yep.
And you know, my family would engage with their parents back then porque estaban vivos. Y pues nosotros nos la pasábamos el verano en México. O sea, era una tradición que hacíamos.
Sí, me acuerdo.
Eso ir a las tienditas de papitas y sodas.
Sí.
Todo eso era repetido cada año. Y luego que no se diga nada más sobre los tiempos que vienen ahora, ¿no? Que el Día del Pavo, toda la semana en México.
Oh, yeah.
La semana de Navidad y Año Nuevo también en México. O sea, nos la pasamos siempre allá. Año a año repetido. Entonces de ahí me acuerdo que mi hermana se casa. Ella se queda a vivir en México. Nosotros nos regresamos para San Antonio. De hecho, fui a la escuela, güey, un año en México.
Oh, wow.
Un año completo lo fui. Entonces ya mi hermana se casa. Entonces el plan era de mi papá. Y me imagino de que todo latino back then era de venir a los Estados Unidos, hacer un dinero, comprar su casita en México, remodelarla, hacer lo que sea.
Claro.
Y en un futuro, güey, pues vamos a regresarnos, ¿no? O sea, I'm guessing that's what that was. I really don't know.
Sí.
Pero yo recuerdo ir a la escuela, I think it was second grade en México. They enrolled me in Mexico and man, like, I knew English and obviously que el español it was my first language. Pero estar en México, güey, y las matemáticas y que muy diferente, güey.
Es muy diferente.
Muy diferente, muy avanzado.
Sí.
Era algo de que, pues, no había la conexión ahí, no me hallaba.
Yeah.
Entonces, mi hermana se casa, como te digo, y se vienen a vivir a Pasadena, aquí en Houston, a Pasadena, Texas. Entonces...
¿Cómo le dices tú, Pasadena?
Get down, Dina, le digo yo, sí. O como dicen, pues, pues, no sé, pues todos los norteños están ahí en Pasadena. Entonces... Me imagino, no sé, igual, tengo que preguntarle a mis papás. Me imagino que mi hermana, pues la única, estando acá en Estados Unidos, todos en México, para no estar tan lejanos de ella, pues we got up and left. And we moved to Pasadena. Everybody moved. I think my brother may have stayed, or one of my other sisters may have stayed. Pero I think el primero que se vino para acá fue mi hermano mayor, el que me sigue. He came over here, he started working with my cuñado and my sister doing what they were doing. And then little by little, sure enough, there was work available for my dad, and we all moved.
Oh, wow.
We all moved to Pasadena.
¿Cuántos años tenías? You were in second grade?
Comencé el tercer grado aquí, so I must have been 8 or 9, maybe, around there. Y entré a la escuela ahí en Pasadena y ahí estuvimos rentando apartamentos por mucho año. Ya después de casi entrar al middle school, mi papá compraron casa ahí en Pasadena, donde actualmente todavía viven. Y pues normal, güey, o sea, algo de que fue una vida y una juventud muy honestamente, ¿cómo se dice? Como humilde, ¿no?
Humilde.
Porque éramos tres, porque ya había nacido mi hermano chico en el 88. Éramos tres más, aparte de mis papás, éramos 5, güey, en un apartamento de una recámara y un baño.
Oh, wow.
O sea, de que estábamos, yo nunca tuve cama hasta casi maybe middle school.
Oh, wow.
Porque estábamos todos en la habitación, en un colchón tirado en el piso, mi hermano el mayor en el couch. O sea, que fue algo...
¿Cuánto tiempo estuvieron así?
¿Mande?
¿Cuántos años así en el apartamento?
Pues te puedo comentar que casi a lo mejor como unos 3 o 4 años en un apartamento chico así, me imagino. Sí, porque yo entré a middle school ya como en el 7th or 8th grade y ya para entonces se me hace que habíamos comprado casa para
una
entonces.
casa,
Ya. It's como maybe 2-3 years in un apartamento y una recámara.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's all we could afford. You know what I mean? My dad working, you know, todos los días, llegando bien cansado. Y mi mamá, pues, ama de casa cuidando a nosotros. Y eso sí, mi mamá siempre nos llevaba a la escuela, nos recogía. Era lo diario de ella, ¿verdad? Entonces, you know, I think you grew up with the mentality of what you don't see is what you don't have, but you don't know that that's out there, right? So, no naces con un rencor o no vives con un rencor de que dices, oye, pues, él tiene esto y yo no lo tengo. Why? There was none of that because we didn't know any better. What we had was more than enough. Teníamos ropa, teníamos donde dormir, teníamos amistades ahí en los apartamentos. So I grew up in a very humbled community and living that nunca hubo envidia de nada.
Sí,
you know what I mean?
Sí.
Yo entiendo que había gente que tenía más, pero o sea, no, güey, o sea,
estabas contento.
What you didn't have, you didn't miss. I guess that's
you were
what I'm
like
trying
just
to get at.
happy at that age to be with your family, and you were just not thinking about that. And I guess in a way, your parents also kind of did a good job, like not really making y'all feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Y como que you felt kind of just, you were just happy growing up. And you were just happy with what you had.
Sí, porque no había conocimiento, como te digo. Hoy en día, yo tengo mis niñas y todo, y cada año, pues, hay que ir a ver las luces del zoológico. O hay que ir a ver Moody Gardens. Hay que ir a esto. Nunca hubo nada de eso, güey.
No había
o sea,
TikTok.
Entonces, a lo que me refiero es de que what you didn't see, what you didn't know of, you didn't miss it.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. We weren't part of all that stuff. Entonces, no éramos niños pediches tampoco. Because we knew, right? No hay, pues no hay.
Sí, no hay.
So, ya pasando todo ese detalle, me entro a la high school, hago el intento de ir al colegio, ¿verdad? Porque pues es algo que uno casi te ubican aquí para hacerlo. Pero no hubo el derecho de que tú digas, mis papás me van a pagar mi estudio. No hubo nada de eso tampoco.
¿Para la universidad?
Para la universidad. Entonces yo me graduó de la high school. Estoy trabajando en H-E-B, which is my first job at 16 years old.
You told me, you were at H-E-B.
Yeah, I started at H-E-B at 16. Mi cumpleaños fue en marzo 31. Me acuerdo que cuando cumplí los 16, se me hace que para el día 1 o el 2 de abril ya estaba ahí aplicando con ellos. Y a mediados de abril, güey, comencé a jalar, o sea, a los 16 años.
Antes de que llegues a high school o even in high school, you were just eager to get to work. Querías ya trabajar.
Sí, porque yo quería entrar de algo. Quería más que nada to support my parents, to make sure that que no había nada ahí que les faltara a ellos.
Yeah.
Y pues cell phones and all that stuff wasn't even
Ahora,
a thing back then.
En esas épocas, ¿tú tuviste algo así de que, ya sabes que hay gente que a lo mejor vendiste algo cuando estabas joven? ¿O era más, estabas enfocado simplemente en just enjoying your childhood and then getting to work when you needed to work?
Exactly. So, trabajé antes de los 16. So, mi hermano y mi cuñado tienen negocio de pintar casas, ¿verdad? Y en los summers me iba con ellos. O sea, hey, güey, pues vamos, vente. Y me iba con ellos a ayudarles a cualquier cosa. Más que nada, just to get out of the house, too. Y ponle que a lo mejor I wasn't too productive because they weren't going to put a kid to paint something professionally.
Claro.
Pero era para salirte de la casa, ayudarte a organizarla bien, esto y lo otro. Y pues, ¿verdad? Hubo tantito de entrada por ahí. Pero no, o sea, la mentalidad de un entrepreneur, de un salesperson, eso no me nació en mí hasta muchos años después. ¿Por qué? Porque no crecí en ese environment. Crecimos en un environment donde uno no sabía nada más de que ir a trabajar por alguien más para ganar un cheque y vivir.
Entonces tenías más que nada las ganas de simplemente trabajar, hacer dinero, ayudar a tu familia.
Sí.
Y ahí es donde empezaste a los meros 16 a trabajar en H-E-B. ¿Y cuáles son varios de los trabajos o de los momentos que dices tú, wow, tuve estos trabajos antes de que llegues a real estate? Any of like the major like jobs that you had that you remember?
Major jobs?
Like 3 or 4 like jobs.
No, tuve un chingo.
Ya sé que tuviste un chingo, tienes un chingo de vidas, de experiencia. Siempre
Son
que estamos
42
platicando
años de profesionalismo y es un chingo.
Siempre que estamos platicando que estamos hablando de something random y luego Luis, sí, yo trabajé en eso. Sí, un chingo. Yo sé que has hecho de todo, güey.
Pero mira, y esto lo digo siempre. No es... Y es algo bueno y malo, ¿verdad? Porque yo soy de las personas siempre de que si yo entro en algo a trabajar, I'm going to be number one, just like you said, at it. I'm going to do my best into trying to master it.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I'm bored. Like, what else is there?
Yeah.
If I'm at my limit in that professional scenario, that job, and there's nothing else for me to do, I go find something else.
You find something else.
And it's not like, tuve chingo de trabajos porque me corrieron, porque no quise ir. No. I never quit from a job except for one time. One time I quit from something that I said, you know what, esto no es para mí.
Yeah.
And it was selling something. Ain't that crazy?
Wow.
It was selling something, but I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in it.
Okay, yeah.
So I literally got up and left, and I was like, I'm not doing this. This is.
Era my life.
No, I didn't believe in it at all whatsoever. Era algo de que every bone in my body was telling me,
get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, sometimes you have that feeling.
Yeah, but after being, I mean,
did you have any, like, during the time when you were working, do you ever had a mentor or anybody that influenced you in any way or before you got into real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in every scenario of every job that I've been to, I think there's always someone there that's willing to help. And I think they come across as willing to help you. ¿Por qué? Porque they see something in you. Si tú eres una de las personas que le echa ganas, that show up on time, that vas con la mentalidad de que, por ejemplo, el trabajo mío en H-E-B cuando yo comencé era de ir a colectar los carros, güey, afuera, los carritos, ¿verdad? Ahora, si a ti te dicen, oye, Miguel, es lo único que tienes que hacer. A mí no me nacen hacer nada más eso, güey. O sea, si yo voy a ir a colectar los carros, ya acabé, ya colecté todo. Voy a ir adentro a sack groceries. Voy a ir miro algo tirado, voy a limpiarlo, güey. Voy a ir al baño you know what I mean? There's a lot of little things in there que I occupy my time.
Yeah.
Que no nada más voy a hacer una cosa que tengo obligadamente que hacer. And that's it. So people saw that, right? So then people started paying attention. Y eso siempre ha sido en mi vida. Entonces, Richard, I forget his name. Richard was one of the managers there at H-E-B. And he saw that. And he resonated with me. He goes, hey, Luis, dijo, I see that this, I see that, do this, try that. You want to be cashier one day? I was like, absolutely, man. He goes, all right, well, pay attention. Learn the codes. Learn the produce codes, ¿verdad? Comiénzatelos a memorizar. Aquí está una lista. O sea, fue muchas cositas de que gente vio que si te le echabas empeño, they were there to help you and guide you to move up, right? I went from bagging groceries to pushing carts to being a cashier. From being a cashier, I went from lead cashier. Lo que me faltaba a mí después de ahí era to be in charge of all the cashiers. Estar arriba en el tilt department donde yo soy el encargado de darles el tilt. Y cuando un shift se va, colecto el dinero, I put it up. Pero nunca me dieron esa oportunidad. And that was even after graduating high school. So cuando me gradué de la high school, les dije, hey, I need full time. I can't do part time anymore. 10, 15, 14 horas a la semana no puedo. O sea, I can't survive off of this. I need money. Cupo entradas. Y cuando no me dieron la oportunidad ahí, there was an employer que trabajaba en the produce department y era ese his second job. Me dijo él, oye, pues andas buscando algo full time. Le dije, sí. Le dije, ves a la empresa donde yo trabajo. I work 2 jobs. I work over there from 7 to 3 y me vengo para acá en las tardes de 4 at closing, güey. I was like, shit, that's impressive.
Damn.
Man. Like, that's 2 jobs,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Full time. So, ya fui con él, entrevisté ahí y me dieron el trabajo. Me dieron el trabajo full time de 7 de la mañana a 3 y media de la tarde, 8 horas a la semana, 8 horas al día, 5 días a la semana. Y comencé en el tool room. O sea, que es lo más bajo que puedas comenzar, ¿verdad? Sin saber nada, güey. Era un huerco de 18 años.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, from the tool room, I went from, en un periodo de 2 años que estuve ahí con ellos, me fui del tool room all the way to maybe managing and assisting both manufacturing departments. Y después de ahí, I capped out. No me acuerdo qué tanto dinero me estaban pagando en ese momento. Y hablé con uno de mis cuñados que también se vino para acá a trabajar en las refinerías, en construction. Y le dije, güey, pues, ¿verdad? Ya traigo una novia, o sea, tengo un carrito, ya están sonando los celulares, ocupo dinero.
Yeah,
y lo del college no me jaló, güey. I was doing engineering, drafting design. You know, me gustó chingo ese detalle, pero no. O sea, no me salía. There wasn't a lot of investment there. I was stuck.
Yeah.
So, I think in 2004 fue cuando was it 04 or 02? It could have been 02. I don't remember really the dates, pero comencé a trabajar en construction, güey, en refinería. Over an hour drive in Chocolate Bayou, all the way out in like the boonies, como dice uno. Por una compañía, un contratista de trabajar allá, clocking at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, y nos salías hasta las 5:30.
Wow.
So it was a good job, man. It was good pay.
Yeah. Oh wow, dang. Yeah. Was that the I know you had a lot of different jobs. When was it the time when you were like, hey, real estate? I know you had a lot of different jobs, but what even inspired you to consider getting into the real estate world?
Yeah, so leading that job in the industry with construction and working the refineries, that led into me being present in March 23rd in 2005. There was a huge explosion in Texas City at the BP petroleum plant.
Oh, wow.
And I was involved and I was there.
Oh, snap.
So that changed my life. That changed my life completely. There was an incident there where there were many casualties. I was hurt. I got blown away, about 10 feet to my left.
Dang.
It was pretty scary scenario, man. I don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people don't know about it, but that's something that takes place into what I'm fixing to tell you, right? So that happened in 2005.
You were blown up like...
Yeah. I was pushed. Like, imagine a big surge of wind just coming at you and lifting you off your feet and pushing you.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I was within a certain parameter that I don't think I should have been here. You know what I mean? There was people around me that survived, that got injured worse than I did. But that changed my life. So in 05, that happened. Obviously there was a lawsuit in place because a lot of us were injured and it was at fault because of the BP plant that day. They didn't have a lot of safety things and conditions in place.
Yeah.
Many years later, I think it ended up being maybe 08 or 09 where they finally settled the lawsuit. And, we won and we've got a certain amount of monies each. And I continued working, to be honest with you. I continued working. I think at the time I was at Lando Sitco on Highway 3. I mean, on Ritchie and 225 in Pasadena. And maybe I lasted another year at that refinery until another incident happened.
Oh my God,
dude! If that's not God telling me you need to get out of this industry, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
there was a deep south crane that was there. I mean, these things are over 200 feet up in the air, Miguel. They're huge, and they were there because their intent was they were going to renovate and remove the coker units and lift these containers up and put a new one in. Okay. It was a Friday. I was there working. I was a foreman at the time for pipe fitters. I had a crew with me. We were out and about driving and, we ended up being at the same site where the crane is at. There was a lunch tent with a vending machine. We had some time to kind of waste. And I told the crew, hey, we're going to go to the vending machine and buy some snacks and before we get back to our unit. And we did that. Next thing you know, maybe it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All these alarms start going off. And I have a radio because I'm a foreman. And I hear, one of our colleague foremen scream, the crane fell. I mean, it's crazy to hear those things, right? And you're looking around and the crane is 200 more feet up in the air, something that you don't miss. You see it every single day.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember him saying something about the crane. I said, what is he saying? I said, I don't know. Something about the crane. The crane fell. And you look over and you don't see the crane anymore.
Sheesh.
Something that you see in eyesore for 3 months straight, it's there. All of a sudden, it's gone.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, man, that thing tipped over, operator error, casualties at that point, too. And what's the craziest thing, Miguel, of all this is the mass of where all the cables are hooked up with this thing ended up smashing the hell out of that tent that we were in just a few hours before.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So that right there, man, I was like, you know what? This is it. I'm done with this. PTSD trauma is a real thing from being involved in 2 different incidents like that. And I just told my wife back then, and I said, you know what, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Oh my God.
So I left that industry, and that was 08 going into 09, I think.
Okay.
And I started flipping houses, and that's how I got into the real estate world.
So I think that kind of segues into like a little bit of the creativity side of things too. Because you were noticing that this was not for you, and that you could potentially die, right?
Yeah.
It was God's timing, like you said. It happened twice. You didn't want it to happen 3 times, right?
Right.
And so you had to be kind of like, in a way, I'm assuming like creative into like finding out what else to do.
Correct.
And so the '08 crash happened and all that. And did you see that as an opportunity to start flipping houses?
I did. Yes and no. I started flipping. I did 2 houses only back then, and then the market did crash.
Okay.
And I had invested money into the market because we had obviously the settlement that came through. And that kind of put a little bit of a worrisome into the industry, into what am I doing, right? I didn't have any other source of income. I was living off of the settlement that I was given. And, you know, I had only flipped 2 houses. So what now? What do we do now? And como cualquier hispano con dinero, I mean, it itches, right? You're like, I'm wasting this thing.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of things personally. We paid off all of our debts. We bought a piece of land in Crosby. We started getting into the horse industry.
Oh, wow.
We had quarter horses back then that we would race. We did a lot of cool, fun things, and we were involved with that kind of lifestyle for a very long time. And that led into me becoming certified and working at a veterinary clinic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Has hecho de todo.
So my mentality then was like, okay, tengo caballos, tengo vacas. ¿Qué tal si se me enferma uno? Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I took a little course. I ended up working in Clear Lake for a veterinary clinic.
Yeah.
And I was there for maybe 6 to 7 months until a business opportunity came along.
Okay.
And
but in a way, you do have to be like you earlier were saying like you're not too much of the creative type, but I think creativity could be in like business or in like creative to survive or what's next. Like you had to be creative to get that certification to take care of the animals that you had. Like some people might have been just like I don't even think about those things, but I think it does play a role in being creative on what to do next. Like in some people, it doesn't seem as creativity. It seems as just like the smart move to do if you're in a certain situation. But I think you do have to be creative on different things that you have to like do or get to be able to continue move forward, growing whatever it is that you're growing.
Yeah.
And that also plays a role in being creative.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's one of those things that you have to be innovative enough.
And innovative,
yeah. You have to innovate yourself to do what's next. And leading into this market, you have to. You have to. Yeah. Recently, we brought somebody onto the team that was coming from a brokerage where he said, there's a lot of senior producers at that brokerage where they don't prospect a whole lot. It's based on referral.
Oh, wow.
I'm new to the industry. I'm within my first year. I need to prospect. I need to figure out what it is that I can do to earn business and to get myself out there.
Because times change really quickly in business and in anything that you do. So you have to adapt really quickly to the changes in the industry. Like all the time.
You have to.
And so,
but you know what's crazy about that too is, and a lot of realtors out there will agree with me on this too. There's agents out there, Miguel, who don't have a social media presence and they're top producers.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So it's a yes or a no with a lot of people, but they're doing something else, right? But
how many years have they been in the industry, or because they
have a different avenue, right? They have a different strategic avenue on how to prospect to clients.
Yeah.
And like I say this to everybody too, right? When you come on board with me or anybody else, you have to find your niche. You have to find what you're good at. Mm-hmm. What kind of client are you aiming for? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to be a listing agent? Do you want to be a buyer agent? You want to just work leases? You want to work straight with veterans? You want to learn the loaning program? so that you can focus into areas that any kind of consumer is willing to come in there and buy a house. So you have to find a niche, whether it's social media, whether it's prospecting by making phone calls, walking neighborhoods, mailers. There's all kinds of things that you can do to prospect your business.
Yeah.
But social media is one of the ones that it's the easiest to some people
to get into. Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
To some extent. And what better way for people to relate to you on just something like this that we're doing, right? And you say this a lot too, man. Like the importance of interviewing people, the importance of being in front of a camera is your true self is going to come out.
Yeah.
And those audience out there, the people that are looking at this, are going to say, man, I like the way he talks. I like the way he comes across the camera. I can relate to that, right? And that's the goal behind doing video tours, doing interviews like this, so that people can resonate with you and say, that's somebody that I can probably refer, or I can probably work with that person. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like you have to be able to be your true self. Yeah. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's not easy being authentic and being yourself. And you just want to be somebody else. And at the end of the day, people can sense that when you're not being yourself.
Like the recent elections. We had somebody not so much being herself, and we know what happened. So,
so exactly. So at the end of the day, I'd rather somebody love me for who I'm really am versus somebody love me for who I'm really not.
That's right.
Because they're gonna fall in love with somebody who I'm not, and then that's not comfortable, and that's not you. And I think everybody has their own unique way of being, and at the end of the day, some people might not like you, some people will,
and that's okay. And that's the biggest learning curve that we have, right? In this industry as a team lead now. You manage 10, 15, 20 agents, and I learned a long time ago that not all of them are going to be with you, not all of them are going to be liking what you do. And I'm in the mentality of, I'm going to teach and coach you, but if you're not willing to cooperate and do the things that I ask, then you can stay on the team, but you're not going to be producing, because that's not the right way to do things, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few that just disappear and they don't do anything. So to some extent, I'm okay with that, but then it's like, what are we doing? Because that's a reflection on me, right? If you go out there and you mess something up and I don't even have a clue of what you're doing because you're not communicating with me, that's not okay. So I'm at the point of, if I can't reach you, if I can't get a hold of you, and I've tried multiple avenues and ways to get a hold of you, then you're just showing me that you're not interested in real estate or interested on being on the team anymore. And I'm okay with letting you go, right? I'm okay with that. And again, you just have to understand that be with a team lead mentality and as a broker mentality, that it's okay when people don't want to work with you, and you have to let them go.
Yeah, at the end of the day, not everybody is going to meet your expectations, and not everybody's going to be like you want them to be, or not everybody's going to be like you, right?
Yeah, I hope they're not, because I don't want people to be like me. I want people to be creative and different and, be themselves more than anything. And I think that's okay. More than anything, I preach to the agents that I'm here to have your back. I'm here to, whenever you have any questions, I'm here to motivate you, to help you in your business, pero tú también tienes que echarle ganas. O sea, yo no puedo, I can't make you make the phone calls. I can't make you go to the open houses. I can't make you make a social media post. O sea,
in this real estate world, like you pretty much have your own business.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
And you have your own real estate business, and you have to go out there, find clients. You got to get referrals. You got to put in the work. You got to get people to know you. You got to learn the process of your craft. You have to stay up to date with the newest and the most innovative things going on in the real estate world. At the end of the day, it teaches you how to be a business owner. And that just goes to show, like in any other business that's out there, restaurants or any other business, a lot of businesses fail. And that's more in like the macro way, like talking about larger businesses or businesses who you start. But you see that same thing in a more micro way with real estate professionals, individuals who they had like a corporate job, they joined this field, they joined this world, and a lot of the times you don't have anybody in your, telling you what to do or how to do it. Like you have to like learn, you have to put in the work, and it's just a different way of lifestyle that you have to eventually learn.
And I think that's important. I don't consider myself a coach because I think a coach, in my perspective, a definition of a coach would say, hey, here's the 10 things you have to do today, where you're at with them. And I feel like if I don't do that to myself, I don't think I can push somebody else to do those things, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that I need to learn to do within my business first before I can be coach. I have to be coachable myself in order for me to coach somebody else, right? But I'm more of a mentor person. I'm here to strategically tell you, hey, Luis, someone will call me, hey, Luis, I have this scenario. What do I do? Well, this is what I would communicate to the other agent or the other seller, and try to work that in that direction, in that avenue. So I'm more of a mentor than a coach, I think. But that's not to say that I can do better with coaching agents into not forcing them to do what they don't want to do, but give them more or less like a layout of a game plan on what it is that they can do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, in order for them to procure some clients and have some business.
Yeah. So when it comes to like your everyday operations, everything you do, when it comes to like, because you're a real estate agent, you're a team leader, you're managing a team, like you're doing a lot. And when it comes to like that mindset of continue to grow, continue to like hustle, what are some of the mindset, I guess, ways of thinking that you have that keeps you going? I know you talked about HEB, that once you achieve something, you got bored and you kind of do things out of boredom. You just want to like grow maybe. I know that's one avenue, but are there any other things that, makes you or like push yourself and continue to grow and continue building your team? You know what I mean? Of course, money is a big motivator. I'm sure you're going to talk a little bit about that maybe, but what really makes you be that hustler mindset?
I think it's because most of us have a work ethic that it's hitting in there somewhere, and you just have to find it. And I think I found my work ethic. I do have a work ethic. I wake up in the morning. You have to have a routine, right? And more, my biggest motivator, and I know, it's the same for most people, but it truly is my family, man. My daughters, who I'm living with right now, her daughters as well, which I consider my daughters too. And the lifestyle, Miguel, like what other lifestyle or what other profession can give you this, ability to earn as much as you want to earn, right? Think about that. Go on vacation when you want to, honestly. Travel, be at home, cook dinner early. What other industry or profession gives you that availability, right? It shouldn't be, you should always have a balance, right? In my perspective of it. If you hustle 100% and you go at it, you're going to get burned out. It's going to happen. So you have to have a fine balance of your routine, mental health, your physical health. Find a balance on time blocking, time block what it is that you're going to do on a daily basis, and crunch all those things in there so that you can be successful. And again, going back to what's my biggest motivation to do this, if I were to choose one thing, man, I think it is the lifestyle, because I have the ability to take my girls to school every day, pick them up in the afternoon. I'm involved in their lives. If you go work at a 9 to 5 where you're stuck, a boss telling you got to clock in at 7, you can't leave it till 5, you're missing out on all those opportunities, right? How much money can someone make in an industry right now in a profession where they're working an office job from 9 to 5? What's more or less the estimate amount?
The estimate would be like the average American would be making between $55,000 to $60,000 a year.
So it's like a teacher's salary, more or less, right? 60 to 70,000 at most, right? If you hustle enough in this industry and you sell a minimum of one property a month, one house, one closing, you're making more than that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be making gross income $80,000 to $90,000 every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have the ability to take your daughters to school, drop them off, go to the gym, go work out.
Get that flexibility with time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, which of the two do you want, right? Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, I can't do both, or I can't do that. And that's okay, mm-hmm. right? But I do it because it's the lifestyle that I've chosen, the lifestyle that I've been happy with for the last almost 9 years. And I think that's my biggest motivator. Why? Because I don't think I'll ever go back mm-hmm. and be employed by someone. Mm-hmm. I can't.
No, you can't.
No, we're at the mindset where we're both self-employed. We're entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I don't like somebody telling me, hey, you got to go do this and be done with it within a couple of hours.
I've fired clients before because they think they're my boss or they act like my boss. So two things that I've learned is, number one is, in the past, I would have my clients, like when I was like new and starting out and I didn't have that authority that I have now, and I didn't know exactly the way things should be and how I'm really helping my clients grow, because at the end of the day, they're reaching out to you because you're the expert in this and they want your input in this. And so I would have them kind of take charge of that. And so they would start feeling like they had to be my boss, or reach out to me any time of the week, any time of the day, feeling like they had that
that control
over me. Yeah. And so that's one of them. And then number two, it's when they just do it because they want to do it, because they feel maybe they have their own business also, or they run other teams, they run other people, and they feel like they can run you too. And so I've noticed those two things in my business, and what I've learned to fix those things is, number one, I've become better in my craft. I've become the authority in my field, and I'm the one telling them the way it should be and the way it's going to be, in a very respectful, nice, friendly way.
Right.
But they understand that I'm the authority, and they're not rushing me with, the deliverables that I give them anymore. They're not rushing me. They just give me their full trust because they know I got them, basically. Right. And so that's one way as a business owner to be able to have your own clients, respect what you do, respect your time, respect what you have going on. And that's the other reason I have a business, because I want to make sure I take control of my time and I can spend the time the way I want to spend my time. And two, on the other side of things is where I'm actually able to explain to them the way it's going to be. And it is what it is. But now people like it. People respect that. And they give me the time back. They give me my authority back. And so that's why we love being in this field, in this, being entrepreneurs, being business owners. Mm-hmm. We have that flexibility. So I've had to fire clients before because they still kind of want to take my time, and they still feel like they are in charge. And no, I mean, the customers is always right. Yes, because they're paying for this service.
They're paying for a service.
They're paying for a service. So you're always right. You will get what you are paying for. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, most of the clients that I have, they kind of respect those boundaries.
Right. Yeah. And it's good that you recognize those things, right? You recognize the fact that someone's pushing those boundaries. Yeah. They're respecting your industry. Yeah. And you're okay with letting them go because you know you're going to have someone else.
Yeah, you're going to have the right client. Sometimes as a business owner, like, you are hungry to get more clients, to make more money. But it gets to a point where you want the right clients and you want to specialize in maybe one thing or maybe 2-3 things. You want to specialize in that one thing because that's what allows you to get the right clients. Like, if I was doing everything, which sometimes I am still, but I still specialize whatever it is that I'm doing, I still specialize in like 1 or 2 things. Like, when it comes to what I do, I like to specialize in podcasting, in this video world. I do all kinds of videos, and I've done commercial work. I've done all kinds of stuff, but I specialize in podcast and help people really grow through the podcast side of things.
Right.
In the real estate side of things, I want to specialize in something. Like, for me, I would love to specialize in like more luxury properties. Because my office is in River Oaks and I like this area and I want to be able to connect. But that's a different kind of audience. Actually, let me ask you a question. When it comes to like selling $1 million homes versus selling $200,000 homes, what have you noticed when it comes to like the different clients?
The difference is that you have to be on your toes with those kind of people because they're demanding. You know, they really are. And it's amicable to say that because if they weren't demanding, they wouldn't be where they're at.
Exactly. They have to.
So it's a whole different breed, a whole different animal. And right from the beginning, you have to learn that they're expecting that kind of service. They're expecting the attention. They're expecting feedback. They're expecting what it is that I'm doing every week to promote the house or to promote the listing. Because if you don't give that to them and you're signed up for at least a year or 6 months, they can fire you. They can say, you know what? No, I'm going to go with someone else and they'll figure out how to sell it. And they can pick and choose who they want. But at the end of the day, I at least in my experience, I think they're demanding and they deserve a different kind of service.
No, I definitely agree with you. And it goes with every industry. I think even in my industry, the higher paying clients, they also demand. But that's where I also learned that what I was saying earlier, that these are the things that we're going to do and this is the expectations. So now that they know what to expect, they still kind of demand, but they still feel more at ease that you're really taking care of them.
Correct.
And they understand that.
It's all about setting expectations, right? And be honest with yourself. Don't oversell it. You know, the one listing that I had over there in Kima that sold right from the beginning, I set my expectation. I said, look, man, I'm not a high-end luxury agent yet. I said, but if you entrust me in with this, I'm sure that we'll sell it. And we're going to do everything we can in our power to promote it and get it out there. So that we can get you potentially a buyer. And I didn't overshoot it. You know, I didn't overshoot my expectations. I didn't, bring in, furniture. I didn't do staging it because that's a lot of money, man. Like,
it is.
I got a quote it one day and it was like $10,000 just to furnish the home, just to staging it. And I said, that's insane. But anyways, it sold, which is great, and we've got that experience under our belt, and we can say, you know, we're luxury agent now, and we can definitely go after those kind of clients and know what to expect and know how to treat them and know how to market those listings as well.
No, I'm really excited about that. To continue you growing your team. But no, I wanted to kind of segue a little bit into things that you've kind of learned and obstacles that you have to go through. Especially, I think just in life in general. It could be in family, it could be in your industry, real estate. What are some obstacles that you've been going through, or maybe in the past you went through, and how did you overcome those things?
Yeah, so don't get stuck. I think in my personal life, there were some changes there that happened back in 2020, 4 years ago, that it was a marriage that I felt that it wasn't working. It wasn't going anywhere. It was stuck in the same position, routine after routine, year after year. Financially, it was the same. Great mother of my daughters. She's an amazing person to them. I just felt like I got stuck there. I was stuck. And it maybe goes back to that same mentality where I'm like, okay, I got to where I need to go. I need more. There's nothing else for me to do here. I can't motivate you and me to do other things in business, right? Or in our lifestyle to improve our lifestyle more than anything. So I felt like all the weight was on me, and you just get tired of it. You know what I mean? So we ended up going our separate ways, and that's something where I can't be selfish to say it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I have daughters involved that they no longer have that relationship of mom and dad living in the same household. But, you can just tell that for me personally, it was a good change. It was a good change, not only mentally, but physically, emotionally, and my partner that I'm with now, I can rely on her for a lot more. I can rely on her for mindset. Hey, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? And we can spin off ideas of each other. financially, she's got my back. She's got my back mentally, physically. Anything that I think I need to do to better myself or us, she's on board with it. So she's always been that positive, pillar in my life since we've met, that I've latched onto that, and I've grown with it, and we're still growing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that, because that's something that has improved drastically and has opened up my eyes business wise as well. So going back to being at that other broker that I was with before leading into building a team, she was one of the motivators for that. She said, "Why not you?" I said, "What do you mean? Well, why can't you have a team? Why can't?" Well, I'm not ready. I didn't see what she saw in me that I felt like I was ready to grow a team.
That's good.
And man, huge. It's just a pillar of hope, a pillar of seeing you from a different perspective. Because I don't know about you, but we never see our full potential. Somebody else will ever see that. Right. And she saw that in me, and I said, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm ready, and I'll do it. And it was one of those dives, taking a dive at the deep end of things. Because I'm not scared. I'm not scared of taking those leaps of faith. As long as, and even being in this relationship to Miguel, I don't know about you, but I grew up Catholic, going into the churches, going into the, having that faith of God, that someone there to protect you. And, we're all sinners, and we kind of let things go and let that nurture into something else. Ever since many years ago, we stopped going to church. I stopped going to church. And I've always told myself, I want to go back, but I want to feel a connection where someone's preaching something that I believe in, right? And my beliefs are simple, Miguel. It's just being good by others, being a good people by doing things, and having the faith of someone else that's there, and having the ability to release your stress and release the things that we think we have control over, but we don't, right? And I think that's implemented a lot of things, not only in my personal life, but having that faith renowned in God and knowing how to let things go and say, you know what, I've done this. I think I've gotten to the end of what I'm doing, and I need to take it to the next level. Now it's in God's hands to see if that is something that's going to take into fruition, right? And then I think that's one of those things that we need to learn how to do. Porque si a fuerzas quieres que algo pase,
cuando algo fuerzas, no pasa.
No
you gotta let it flow,
no
and it naturally happens.
That's exactly right. And that's one of the things that I've learned in this relationship with God as well, that you have to learn to let things go, not to be so possessive, porque Diosito te va a decir, tú no tienes control sobre esto, yo lo tengo. And that's a tough lesson to learn. And if you haven't learned that, I highly encourage you to do so, because
I didn't know you before, I've met you this year, probably met you about 5-6 months ago, and I didn't know you before, but I do see the way you tell me a little bit about your past, the way you tell me a little bit about your present, and the way I see your drive and everything. I definitely see you as a person already has that drive within you. And like you say, you always want and are striving for more. And you change a lot when it comes to mindset. When you were working for somebody else, now, having your own business in the real estate world, and just going through a lot, having your own family, like that's just the whole thing by itself. I haven't experienced that, right? Yeah. But I know that definitely takes a lot of time, and it's a big part of your life. But I do see how, like, I met Erica and everything, and I do see how she plays a big role in your life. And and like you said, it's just so amazing that you found someone that really sees that big potential in you that maybe you kind of saw in yourself, but always kind of were not comfortable taking that risk. But she pushes you to your limits. Yeah. She pushes you to be more, grow. And I see that the way you're handling like the team meetings, the way you open your new office, the way you're doing the pretty much just being a leader in what you do. Yeah. So it's important to I've heard all the people say, you know, the woman that you marry can really make you or break you. And so I've heard that a lot, and I kind of see that.
Choose wisely, Miguel. Choose wisely.
So I'm gonna choose very wisely when it comes to that. I just think it's very important. Like, I really think that as a man, we have that, like, most of us, I think we have that drive, and it's in us to be able to provide for our families.
That's right.
You know, to provide for the people that we love, and it's within us. And sometimes we feel like it's our duty to be able to do that. And we already have that within us to continue growing. And we know that. We know that we have that within us. And as a man, we have that, you know, power to be able to do more. But having that right woman by your side that is there for you, and that you can talk to that person about anything, feel fully vulnerable with that person, and she believes in you, and you believe in her, and you grow together, that is just like another level of like conquering whatever the fuck you're doing.
That's exactly right.
So I'm really excited that you found somebody who really pushes you to be a better man.
Yeah. Yeah. And God honest, man, like if I don't think we would have met, I'll probably be still stuck at that same average, you know, miserable maybe, or, you know, maybe not at my full potential, not knowing that I can manage a team. But it's all baby steps, right? And that's one of the things with me too. I say, yeah, I'll take the deep dive all day long. I'm not scared of it. Yeah. But I'm always having a plan, and I'm going to execute it, but at my time, at my own pace, right? Yeah. So going back to that was, first is I have to manage a team. I have to learn how to do that. If that's even something that I want to do. What if I hate it? You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to learn how to do those things. Now that I think I've managed and learned how to cope with different people, different creeds, different lifestyles, different needs. It's been a year, and I said, you know what? The next step is to open up an office, right? I think I'm ready. I think we're ready. Okay, we are ready. Yeah, we'll do it. We did an office, right? We renovated. We did everything good. We did the grand opening. It was successful. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your sponsorship too, by the way.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And now that we have the office, okay, so what's next? Well, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I got to get my broker's license, right? So that's something definitely that I'm going to have in my back pocket.
That's what's next for you.
That's what's next for me. And having my back pocket as a security blanket. And, you know, the broker where we're at right now, it's amazing. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. But I would love to be a broker associate, you know, have that broker behind me, have it just in case something happens, or, you know what, I think I'm ready to maybe branch out by myself and figure out how to grow an office now. Then maybe that's something that can come in the near future. Pero no estoy aborazado to make that decision, right?
No, you're letting it flow.
A lot of people say, well, get it, you know, ya estás solo, ya tienes tu oficina. No, man, like,
you can't force anything.
Exactly. I don't want to. I'm happy where I'm at. The services are great. The broker's amazing. You know, the culture there is great. I want my agents to have an option of going to the Vive office, now having a Pasadena office, you know, going to those great classes that Sarah has at the office as well. So there's a lot of, you know, benefits of being in this environment, in this office, in this culture, than just being on my own, right? Eventually, yeah, that's the end goal. But for now, there's no rush.
There's no rush. Yeah. I feel like based on like what we learned, and we kind of talked about, and we learned in our lives and in the past, I really think that one of the things that I've kind of got from you is like letting things flow, like not really rushing into things, letting it flow more than anything. And I feel like that also applies with everything. When it comes to like relationships, you know, some people are just rushing into, you know, the next person, and they don't find the true person that they should be with because they're just rushing versus really taking the time to be with themselves, taking the time to plan things out and see what they really want to do, and letting things flow a little bit more. And so I think that's one of the things that I'm getting from you. And also being able to be creative in the way that you're always innovating. Like no matter what, you're always innovating in everything you do, from getting that license for the horses and the animals that you had to be able to like innovating by actually jumping and taking the risk of like building your own team, and always innovating with content I mean, I remember you came to me because, you know, you see everything going on in the world when it comes to social media and content, innovating, being creative, and changing like the way that's traditionally done, or how things are changing so fast, especially more now than ever before.
Yeah.
Like there's so many trends that keep happening every single day, every single week, that you're continuously innovating, being creative in the way you do things, always with the right mindset, the hustle mindset, the hustle creativo, and also how, you know, the right partner can really play a big role in your, you know, growth, development, continue to being successful in what you do.
That's right.
So I feel like me and the audience have gotten some of those things, and I'm sure, and a lot more other things from this conversation. So,
and Miguel, podcast is the future, man. Like, look at Joe Rogan, look at Tucker Carlson, you know, all those people.
Joe Rogan is like Trump, like the way one of his marketing campaigns was being on all these podcasts.
That's right.
And I feel like that low key kind of helped him,
you know,
win.
The other person on the other side of the candidacy, I was listening to the radio this morning on the news that she had all these things that she didn't want to come up in the interview. Or
she never went to Joe Rogan. She never went to any.
They had talked about it, right? Yeah. They had talked about it, and now Joe Rogan says, well, she had all these things that she was telling us she didn't want to talk about. But I think at the end of the day, she may have agreed to do it. But then there was a lot of people in her team that said, no, don't get near there. And she respected that. So she'd rather went with her gut instinct to join and be interviewed by that person instead of she listened to her staff and she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. Which that's okay. That probably couldn't have made a decisive decision anyways. But what I'm trying to just put out there and say, I saw the trend in podcasting. I saw the trend on how people are in tune with this nowadays, right?
It is.
This is more informative than what's the best way to get to know someone, man? Like, this is the key. This is the way to do it.
Because like when those presidential candidates go to like all these rallies in all these different states, like people like, honestly, like me or in my age group or even younger, they don't go to these rallies, man. We don't go to, I mean, so a lot of people still do. That's cool. Or maybe watching on television or whatever. But I mean, you don't really get to know that person. You don't really get to know their, like if you ask a lot of people that I know, most people, like if you ask them, what are the things that each candidate is going to implement? What are the things that they're for? Most people don't really know. They just going based on the character, the person. So I think it was a smart move from Trump to be able to go to all these like interviews.
And it didn't feel like an interview, did it? I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
But I think the comfort of being in a podcast environment, it does make you vulnerable to where it's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
It's not an interview, even though it's staged like one. Yeah. But it's so different than like you would have an interview with like 60 Minutes. You know,
CNN and all that.
Different. Yeah. So I think the vulnerability of being in this kind of environment, and if you can thrive off of it, which I saw your videos, it attracted me so much to even call you out and set up an appointment.
Yeah.
For the same reason that I saw the industry going in this direction. Yeah. Right. And with having a team of 20 people, I felt the urge of, this is something that I'm going to bring to the table and offer to the team so that the audience and the consumers out there can get to know them individually and to be able to resonate with them individually. Because this is the best way to get to know someone.
And a lot of like younger real estate agents, and not just young, but any age, they're craving it because they see the social media side of things.
Right.
And they would love to be in a team or a broker who offers these services to them at no additional cost.
Right.
So I think it's amazing what you're doing. But I really think, really quickly, Donald Trump's son, Barron Trump, I think he's really into social media. He's younger.
Yeah.
And I maybe you heard about this, but he was really kind of influencing his dad to be able to go to all these podcasts. I bet
he was.
And which podcast to go to. He went to like 6 or 7 of the most famous podcasts. Yeah. And like the Joe Rogan one, when I watched it 2-3 days ago, it was like at 35 million. I'm sure it's more now. But it's crazy, the numbers.
Yeah.
Compared to like an interview with CNN where they really try to attack you or really get something out of you versus
sound bites,
just
man.
a
They try to get
conversation.
those sound bites going and try to get you in that aha moment, how they call it.
If you're not doing a
Yeah.
podcast, you gotta get on it. I feel like it's just a very natural way to get to know anybody. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, but again, thank you, man, for being here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for telling us a little bit about your story,
course.
or a lot about your story. I know you have a lot of other jobs that you did that you haven't shared, but
There's
we'll
a
do
lot
another
more stuff
episode
coming for sure. Yeah.
But we'll definitely do another episode together. But thank you for being
Yeah.
here, and I'm looking forward to continue growing with the team, with you, and I'm
Sure.
looking forward to seeing where you go next, man. So
Congratulations, man. Thank you for having
Congrats
me.
on
And
your
I
new team.
appreciate your time too. And thank you for thinking about me.
yeah, of course, man. Well, we'll see you on the next